Making headlines tonight, Barbados revisits the deadlines to transition to 100% renewable energy. People urged to know their HIV and AIDS status and get tested on this World AIDS Day. Concern about the absence of data to determine gender-based violence in Barbados. And coming up in sports, the Windies in a strong reply to Australia's first innings score.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Barbados is working to ensure a seamless transition from fossil fuels to 100% renewable energy by the year 2035. That's the word from Prime Minister Mia Amor-Mottley as she outlined a number of deadlines for the island. She was speaking virtually at the 27th Annual Ghana Manufacturing and Services Association Dinner and Awards Ceremony. Ms. Mottley says the transition is a central pillar to government's economic diversification and industrial development strategy. She's optimistic the goal to provide Barbadians with ready access to energy that is affordable, reliable and sustainable presents opportunities for local industry and export growth.
The reality is that we will start with transport and with electricity, and we can achieve that by 2030, but our industrial sector will require us moving to 2035 if we are to make the total journey to net zero. As many of you are aware, there are several barriers which limit participation by local suppliers within the energy industry value chain. Issues of size, skills, and financial capacity constraints hinder the capability of local and regional content developers to meet the needs of the international energy companies. In the case of our own country, the Energy Local Content Project, as it is called, seeks to facilitate the strengthening of its policy and regulatory framework for local content development.
Prime Minister Mottley reiterated the need for a joint collaborative approach to tackle regional issues such as food production and the supply of other goods and services. She wants Caribbean countries to not only boost the integration of their markets, but also expand production in the region.
The truth is that while countries do compete in sports, as we now see in FIFA World Cup, which is going on, countries do not compete in the core business of enhancing the lives and livelihoods of their people. The business of uplifting the Caribbean economy and Caribbean people can be completely collaborative within the context of the CARICOM single market and economy. If we are to do this, however, it will demand an urgent shift in mindsets. Simple truth is that individually our scale is simply too small to effectively address so many of the common problems that we face as Caribbean nations. If we can, however, begin to more effectively combine skills and resources and people, especially since many of us are underpopulated, I believe we can drive substantial economic growth and productivity in our region.
There's an effort underway that could help ease the burden on farmers and other stakeholders affected by high feed prices. Trevor Thorpe tells us it's a multifaceted approach that could bring relief across the country.
The project is a combined effort between the Central Fish Processing Association, the UN Food and Agricultural Organization, the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, and the Ruminants and Rabbit Rearing Society of Barbados. Spokesman for the Central Fish Processing Association, Sheena Griffith, says the group has received funding from the FAO to secure equipment to help produce fish silage, which will be used to manufacture feed and fertilizer.
I think it means for Barbadians, hopefully a cheaper feed and cheaper fertilizer, because as you know, feed keeps going up and the fertilizer has gone up drastically in the last couple of months. So our whole aim is to ease the Bajan public and in turn bring money for our organization, because we normally do flying fish all year round, but with the dwindling of the flying fish stocks, we had to look for other things to bring in income for our ladies.
President of the Ruminants and Rabbit Rearing Society, Wayne Smith, says students have started feed trials with rabbit feed.
The training course is 6 weeks in terms of the trainees and the Ministry of Youth, but FAO and the fish waste to feed, that is a 3-month program in the first instance, and we will be doing some feed trials.
Mr. Smith says the initiative will involve cooperation among various farmers groups.
I'm hoping to be able to create a cluster of farmers who work together and cooperate to bring their production costs. I think that once youngsters understand that they can actually make money, they're going to do it, you know, and you can make money by cooperating.
The project is expected to run for 3 months in the first instance. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Thanks, Trevor. A day after being conferred with the Barbados Bravery Medal during the Independence Honors, Frederick Smith Secondary School student Carisha Skeet has been recognized yet again, this time by the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training. The secondary school student has been praised for assisting a passenger on board a public transport vehicle who appeared to have had a seizure. Kishmar Sinjus reports.
Following the reciting of the Peace Pledge, Carisha Skeet has a new role as Peace Ambassador. She's received the highest award from the school's Positive Behavioral Management Program for her act of random kindness. During school assembly, Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw spoke about the decision to recognize Skeet for her selfless act.
I'm sure that many of you have heard about the young lady who rushed the rescue of the elderly gentleman on the minivan as he was having a seizure. And the Ministry of Education thought that that was noteworthy, and we used the opportunity this morning at morning assembly to honor Carisha by sashing her with the Peace Ambassador sash. She is the third student this year to be sashed with the Peace Ambassador sash, or to be given that title, and we are quite pleased. She's the fifth student overall.
Skeet says being named a Peace Ambassador came as a surprise. She intends to use her new title to put the spotlight on bullying.
I even get bullied myself for being overweight, and I would like to stop it, not only just at school, but hopefully everywhere. And yeah.
Congratulations. Kishmar Sinjis, CBC News.
Thanks, Kishmar. On this World AIDS Day, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey has urged Barbadians to know their status and get tested. He made the appeal as he attended a Q in the Community event at the scenic National Botanical Gardens held in conjunction with the National HIV and AIDS Commission, Ross University and the National Archives. Ryan Broom has the details.
Now, showing that he was willing to lead by example, Minister Humphrey took the test publicly under the tent provided by the National HIV/AIDS Commission. He says he would like to see more people stepping forward to get tested and to know their status.
It's been 40 years since the world has been celebrating World AIDS Day, and on this day we choose to bring attention to this issue because everyone, I believe, in Barbados should get an HIV test as long as they're sexually active. We believe that people need to know their status, and in Barbados the healthcare that is being made available, we believe, is second to none as well, and that HIV is no longer a life-depriving illness, and that persons can get the requisite medication to be able to extend their life.
And he reminded everyone that confidentiality is a key part of the test, for which counseling is provided before it is done. He also gave an update on the rate of infection in Barbados.
I'm told that the statistics still show that we're around 1 or slightly over 1% of the population. I suspect that over the next few years, when we get more information, we'll be able to make those statistics more truthful in relation to the context in which we now live. But I'm told that they're about stable, about 1.5% or so. And so hopefully we can bring those numbers down.
A former minister and current deputy speaker of the House, Cynthia Ford, got tested as well. She also took advantage of the free blood pressure and blood sugar checks on offer for attendees at Q, which were provided by students of the Ross University School of Medicine under a separate tent. Meanwhile, CBC's marketing specialist, Nicole Collins, says the corporation is always pleased to work with the National HIV/AIDS Commission, and going to the National Botanical Gardens for the first time was a plus.
Working with the HIV Commission for Q in the community is definitely not a first. We've done this for a couple years, every Thursday, first Thursday in December, and this Thursday definitely we are here now for the first time because Q in the community has touched every community within Barbados. Why not the Botanical Gardens? So we're here at the National Botanical Gardens supporting World HIV Day with the National HIV Commission. No better way for us to spend Q in the community, get the message out, heighten the awareness.
Meanwhile, in addition to the usual massive dance floor, some of the other activities on offer for Q attendees included a glimpse into the work of the National Archives and its genealogy work, free haircuts, and free sexual health items, compliments of the National HIV/AIDS Commission. Ryan Broom, CBC News.
Thanks, Ryan. Barbados admitted to the International Organization for Migration. That story and more after the break. The city of Bridgetown came alive with beautiful music and bright, colorful lights last evening as hundreds of Barbadians and tourists attended the massive Independence Day concert in Heroes Square. It was a festive atmosphere as those in the crowd danced and sang along to the music from a range of seasoned and new performers, including the rebranded Barbados National Youth Orchestra, which performed for the first hour of the show. Not even the brief rainfall was enough to dissuade the crowd as they quickly pulled out their umbrellas to continue to enjoy the concert. The event was also attended by a number of government officials, including President of Barbados, Her Excellency the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Mason, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley, and members of Cabinet. The absence of data to determine the prevalence of gender-based violence remains a hurdle in Barbados. Representative of the UN Women Multi-Country Office Caribbean, Tony Broadber, has called attention to the matter days into the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The UN official was a guest on CBC TV8's Morning Barbados.
It's unfortunate that we don't have enough data to say what has changed in terms of prevalence. We still need to get that prevalence data for Barbados. But across the Caribbean, we know that 46% of women who have ever been in a relationship have experienced some form of violence in their relationship. We also know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, reports, which is a little different than prevalence, because this is a very underreported incident and occurrence. Reports increased significantly across the region. In Barbados, it was 38%, but in other countries, it was up to 100%. Those reports have gone down since the end of the lockdown.
Barbados has been unanimously admitted to the International Organization for Migration. The decision came during the IOM Council's 113th session, which is underway in Geneva. The organization, which is part of the United Nations system, is the leading intergovernmental agency promoting humane and orderly migration for the benefit of all. During his acceptance speech, Barbados' ambassador and permanent representative to the UN, Matthew Wilson, said Barbados was pleased to become the IOM's 175th member.
From assisting us with data collection and analysis to better understand the migratory trends, to strengthening partnership with key actors in the region, such as the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, and supporting the Caribbean migration consultations, to working directly with Barbados on assessing the issuance of e-visas. The IOM has shown its commitment to partnerships for purpose. As Barbados and the IOM enter this new phase in their relationship, we will look forward to further collaboration on the interface between climate change and migration and addressing the human element of migration, both the challenges and the opportunities.
Director General of the IOM, Antonio Vitorino, welcomed Barbados' membership and pledged the agency's continued support.
I can guarantee you that the successful work that we have been developing together has paved the way for the decision that has just been taken by the Council. We look forward to strengthen the cooperation with Barbados, and we also intend that the IOM mission in Barbados will have a critical role of coordination in all our activities in the region.
We often hear about people being seriously injured in traffic accidents, but we don't usually hear about life for the individual after that. Well, tonight, our Rianne Phillips has the story of an accident survivor, Rashad Stout, who was literally trying to get back on his feet.
This is 34-year-old Rashad Stout, a visual artist who goes by the name Righteous. His life changed on February 13 this year when he was involved in an accident with a car while riding his bicycle.
The damage to my head was from the windshield of the car. I think the car hit my side and broke the bicycle. It actually destroyed the bicycle. The bicycle is completely gone, written off. The bicycle is gone, and my leg was broken in 2 places. But I also sustained damage to my back, at the base of my spine, not this bone itself, but like bruises. I broke my shoulder. I had lung damage, cuts and bruises all over. I imagine that whoever saw me, I did not look like I was alive. They said I was brain dead and non-responsive. They actually had me prepped for brain surgery to see if they can get something back. And in that state, I think I was in that position for about maybe a month. But while in that state, I actually had an experience where I felt like I saw God.
Stout is thankful for what he describes as a second chance, but the father of three says getting back on his feet isn't easy.
I'm told that I can't walk again unless I get surgery, and it's been difficult just to live, actually. I have to rely on, I can't carry certain things. I have to, if nobody's there to help me, I have to figure out to get some things done on my own. Apparently my leg was so badly damaged that they had to replace the bone. Well, not completely replaced, but they installed some metal from my knee to my ankle to my right leg. They say that where it fractured, it is healing in a strange angle, and they were not advising to walk on it in that angle, so it needs to be surgically corrected before I can walk on it again.
Even as he prays for that second medical opinion, Righteous has been trying to use his artistic talents and his associate degree in visual arts to earn a living.
I'm trying my best now to use the skills and abilities. I can paint, I can draw, I can sculpt, I can craft, I can build things, I can do portraits, I can do paintings. I can do a lot of things. So I'm doing everything now that I can to try to get as much, anything that I can at this point in time.
Based on his personal experiences, Righteous has this word for those who are facing personal battles.
I would advise anyone and everyone, actually, keep God first. He's the reason I'm alive. I mean, not everybody gets a chance to start over anything.
Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Sports time now. We head over to the sports studio and say good evening to Damien Best.
Yeah, good evening to you, Shane. Good evening to our viewers. Well, the official team points aren't out as yet, but the individual division champions are from various schools in today's Trevor Strong Primary School's cross-country competition. CBC's Mark Seal was at the Willie Gym.
First event on the course was the classes 1 and 2 girls, going 1,600 meters, which included an inner loop of the course and then a full lap for the 183 competitors. And no, we don't have the wrong race. That's the pace runner, or the rabbit, or the guide, who emerged first after the mini loop. But behind him was Zania Bruce of Eden Lodge, with a good distance between her and the rest of the field. Trying to close fast were Sierra Gittins of Hildeskeen and Nevea Winfield of Christchurch Girls, also Olivia Haynes of Providence. But too much work to be done, as Bruce was brave enough to set a hot pace and maintain the lead to get the win in 8 minutes, 3 seconds. Gittins was 25 seconds behind in second spot, her time 8 minutes, 28 seconds. There was a sprint on for the bronze, and it was Winfield who had the faster kick to be third in 8 minutes 36 seconds. Next was Haynes, 8 minutes 37, and in fifth, Christina Rock of St. Stephen's, 8 minutes 40. Then the 175 boys of classes 1 and 2 ran the same 1,600 meter course as the girls. And here we have the early leaders, of which only Rafini Lovell of St. George in the yellow would end in the top 5. The uphill part of the course was grueling for quite a few competitors, so one could expect some lead changes. And as expected, there's your new leader, Joshua Paris of Charles F. Broome. Lovell of St. George was still in the running, but he couldn't catch Paris, who was timed at 7 minutes 15 seconds. 16 seconds off the pace, Lovell was under pressure from Val Renwick Williams of St. Gabriel's, but Lovell stayed strong for a second in 7 minutes 31, followed closely by Renwick Williams in 7 minutes 33. Cameron Belgrave of Providence was fourth, 7 minutes 39, while fifth went to Nathan Phillips of Vauxhall, 7 minutes 40. The 200 girls of classes 3 and 4 ran 2,000 meters. That's 1 3/4 laps of the course. There was a heavy presence early on by Christchurch Girls. Out front was there Jania Thompson going up the hill. And after the incline, she was joined by teammate Jendaya Burke. And Burke eased on by at the water station and never looked back. Burke got the victory in 8 minutes 42. Thompson completed the 1-2 for Christchurch in 8 minutes 52. Carisha Boyne of St. Albans was third, 9 minutes 1 second. And this is what we like to see: the determination to succeed in spite of aching muscles from the lactic acid. Nelia Nurse of Hildeskeen and Talia Selman of St. George sprinting for school points. The official timers had to use splits to separate them. Nurse in the red was given 9 minutes 14 seconds, while Selman was clocked at 9 minutes 14.6. And remember, don't judge by when the athletes passed our cameraman. The finish line was before that. Now on to the classes 3 and 4 boys with 260 competitors in this division. And as usual, positions changed after the first lap. Emerging from the hill in first was Nathan Carew of West Terrace. He only had the pace setter for company, and he duly won in 7 minutes 40 seconds. Theory Thomas of Milton Litch was fading, and Shakir Allen of Bailey saw an opportunity to place second. But Thomas checked behind him in the nick of time, applied the nose, and got the silver in 8 minutes 6 seconds, while Allen was third in 8 minutes 7 seconds. And the excitement wasn't over. Trent Corbin of St. Winifred held off Delaney Burke of Wilkie Cumberbatch for a fourth. Corbin's time, 8 minutes 13, and Burke, 8 minutes 13.6 seconds. Mark Seal, CBC Sports.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mark. Good to see the little ones out and about. The official team results are expected tomorrow.
Tonight's business report is sponsored by Digicel Business. Better solutions for better businesses.
Fresh off the signing of an air services agreement between Barbados and Saudi Arabia, Minister of Tourism and International Transport Ian Goodinedjal remains upbeat about the future prospects. Minister Goodinedjal, who led the Barbados delegation to the 22nd World Travel and Tourism Council Global Summit in Saudi Arabia, says the team has been busy at work. He says the agreement presents numerous opportunities.
That air services agreement will allow us to expand our aviation footprint globally. It's also an opportunity for us to gain and gather further information and collaborate. But more importantly, an air services agreement creates opportunities for an island like Barbados to start exploring how best to do business in terms of flights out of this jurisdiction. Of course, it will take some time to develop, as you are well aware, but we are confident that over time we'll be able to utilize the air services agreement for the mutual benefit of both the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the government of Barbados.
Barbados is leading the way in the region in terms of the electrification of the transport sector. This from AmeriCaribbean's Chief Operating Officer, Dave McGregor, as he spoke about the future of the Caribbean.
That's electric cars, that's electric buses, that's electric motorcycles. And of course, you know, Barbados is actually, I would say, probably the lead island in the Caribbean on vehicle electrification. Really thanks to the folks at Megapower who we've supported on their journey since 2012 on bringing the Nissan Leaf and now the MG range of cars to the island. And they were also instrumental in working with us and the Barbados government in bringing the fleet of full-size electric buses to the island. I think there's about 50 electric buses now on the island, and the whole stock of electric vehicles is, I think, over 1,000 now, which is truly remarkable, and backed up by a charging network that is available both publicly and on private sites.
Meanwhile, the power company's COO says plans to transform St. Lucie into a renewable energy hub are still in the works.
And why in St. Lucie? It's basically, that's where we had some land. We had some nice, south-facing land, which is best for the sun exposure. It was unencumbered by trees and large buildings. And we have a good transmission network up there. And in fact, it became the cornerstone of what we called the St. Lucie Energy Gateway, or the St. Lucie Clean Energy Gateway, because we still have plans. We had plans then, and we still have plans now to build a wind project up on the hill above the solar plant up at the Lambert site. We're still keen to work with others to get the wind project done as well, thereby sort of transforming St. Lucie into the renewable energy hub that we envisaged back in 2013.
That's our news. Good night and be good. Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.